The UK is shifting its approach to dealing with illegal migration by increasing cooperation with Balkan nations. It comes as a growing number of countries in Europe are working on deals with the region, as it is a vital route for large numbers of migrants from the Middle East and Africa. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer was elected in the summer, promising to target human trafficking gangs. Many consider such gangs responsible for boosting the number of migrants trying to get into Europe and profiting from dangerous journeys that continue to claim lives. Joel Flynn reports.
This is a vile trade that must be stamped out wherever it thrives.
Britain's Keir Starmer was elected Prime Minister in July, promising a shift in the country's efforts to deal with illegal migration. His focus in campaign messages was hitting them at the source.
We have to stop this vile trade of the gangs that are putting vulnerable people into boats to cross that channel and breaching our border security.
Stopping migrants from getting close enough to Britain's shores is an issue that has plagued repeated UK governments. In 2024, the number of small boats crossing the English Channel from France has increased compared to last year. More than 31,000 were recorded doing so as of the start of November. The previous Conservative government was spending hundreds of millions of dollars on putting those that did make it to Britain on airplanes bound for Rwanda. Starmer instead is looking to countries closer to Europe's external borders for help and has identified the Balkans as a vital partner.
These agreements with West Balkan countries are very important. There are additional agreements about unlawful migration, and here at the meeting here today, the European political community, that's been a major feature, which is how do we take down the gangs that are running this vile trade of smuggling people across borders.
The Balkan route into Europe is critical. TRT World earlier this year saw firsthand migrants trying to cross from Bosnia into Croatia. The European Union's border force estimated that almost 100,000 migrants used these borders to reach the bloc in 2023. Improved policing has helped. Frontex said in October that the number of irregular border crossings through the West Balkans was down 79% in 2024. Authorities in the Balkans, the EU and in the UK have all said that coordination has been key to that success and needs to be the linchpin of plans to bring them down further.
Make no mistake, people smuggling needs a global response, and on a scale way beyond where we are now. We need to unlock the power of that cooperation across borders, agencies, continents even.
Earlier in the year, Starmer met with Italy's Giorgia Meloni to discuss strategies on dealing with the issue of migration. The UK already has an agreement with Albania to share intelligence on people smuggling gangs. Italy has gone one step further, signing a deal with Tirana to open migrant centres in the Balkan country to house undocumented people while their asylum claims are processed. Italian boats carrying migrants to Albania have already been arriving. Critics, however, say that deterrence is only one part of the plan. On a visit to a former migrant camp in Serbia, TRT World was told that despite it being cleared out by Serbian police, already there were reports that the location was again being advertised by smugglers. Some may applaud Keir Starmer's efforts to target these smugglers. Others, however, point out that until the war, famine and ruin faced by migrants at home is confronted, their desire to find a better life elsewhere will continue to drive them to find a way into Europe. Joel Flynn, across the Balkans.
Germany says it wants to increase the number of deportations to other EU countries, and the biggest number of migrants is expected to be returned to Croatia. Under the Dublin III regulation, the country responsible for the asylum seeker is an EU country where the person first arrived and is registered. Berlin is determined to expel those who are not under its protection, with most requests directed to Croatia and Italy. The German government has been under pressure, both by the public and far-right parties, to deport the migrants.
Wir werden alles dafür tun müssen, dass diejenigen, die hier in Deutschland nicht bleiben können und dürfen, auch zurückgeführt und abgeschoben werden.
Italy has refused to take the migrants back, and Croatia seems to be more cooperative. But the Prime Minister Andrej Plenković denies that Croatia is the first country that they entered the EU soil.
Croatia is certainly not the country of first arrival, that's for sure. That is impossible. On the Balkan route, If someone reaches Croatia and has not been previously registered, it means that the authorities of the countries through which the migrants passed have not registered them.
Many things to discuss there. Joining me now is Drago Župarić. He's an associate professor at the Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences at the University of Zagreb. Drago, great to have you with us. Now, what will happen to these migrants that will Germany now return to Croatia? And how difficult will it be to determine which country is actually responsible for them?
Well, it seems that those who are being returned to Croatia are already, there's already been made decision that the Croatia is actually the one who is have to take them back, because they were registered here in Croatia, the first instance of entering the European Union. Even though we can ask ourselves how come that, for example, I don't know, if they cross the continent, how come that then they weren't registered either in Greece or in the Bulgaria.
Yes, I was just asking that because the Prime Minister Plenković says in his statement that many of those people were not registered in Croatia first. So that's why I was asking, is it difficult to actually determine this?
Well, determination can go, under the Eurodac system, and the ways how they actually got their fingerprints here in Croatia. Very often is the case that some of the migrants, even if they become later on asylum seekers or not, they can legally enter the Balkans, coming, for example, to Belgrade or to Sarajevo under the tourist visa. And then after the expiration of visa, they can get into the hands of the smugglers and try to continue their way further west across the Croatian territory. So that could be also one of the reasons why they were registered first in Croatia. However, upon return back here in Croatia, actually what they might expect is to either continue their asylum claiming procedures here, or what is more likely, that many of them will give it again, in the hands of the smugglers in trying to, reaching the Western European territories again.
Right. It's interesting that, Italy just refused to take these people back, and Croatia seems to be more cooperative when it comes to this. How will this Germany's decision impact the countries in the region?
Definitely, it is a factor of destabilization of the region in a sense, and it is definitely for Croatia something that we have witnessing for the last couple of years since the closure of the Balkan corridor. It is known fact that actually right after the 2016, we already, were getting some of the migrants back to Croatia. And in the same time as we, through the readmission processes, sent back the immigrants to the eastern points, like, for example, to Bosnia and Herzegovina and to Serbia. Some humanitarian rights organizations are definitely pointing to the fact that maybe Croatia will take this as an advantage also to extradite or even expulse through pushbacks this population of immigrants that will be bring back from Germany. But anyhow, I don't find it quite realistic that all of 16,000 that was announced by Germany will be sent back to Croatia, because of the mere fact that we don't actually have the capacities to accept and host and receive all of these migrants. And very often the numbers are quite lower. Like if for example 1/4 or 1/3 of those who are being announced will be back, we will be brought to Croatia. That's also very significant numbers. However, they are not like 16,000 as announced by Germany.
It seems to me as a potential problem coming Croatia's way here. But I do want to mention, you mentioned actually people smugglers. The UK has just recently signed deals with the Balkan countries to share intelligence information and try to fight this as more and more people are losing their lives. Do you think this approach by the UK's government will be beneficial for the region as well?
It might be. However, the problem is very structural, and it's the problem of macro-structural, like geopolitics, in a sense that most often people are just put into the hands of the smugglers because they don't have the legal, proper, and secure, safe channels for entering. So this proposition will definitely, let's say, lower the levels of criminality in regards to smuggling networks. However, they will not cease to exist. Actually, more likely it will produce new smuggling networks for the people who are desperate enough to put themselves into the hands of the smugglers in order to get to the Western Europe.
Do you think it's too late for these type of deals? I have to ask you this because this has been a problem for such a long time, and now they are deciding to share the intelligence information. Is it too late for this?
It's not too late. It's necessary, I would say, but it has to be combined with the more proactive, sort of less restrictive European Union policies in this regard, by opening the secure, legal, alternative ways, complementary ways of acceptance and entering the channels, such as, let's say, employment visas or student visas or private sponsorship and community sponsorship schemes, where the people who are actually in a need, not only for protection, but also in a need for secure and better life, will have proper legal channels instead of, holding their heads in the bags, right? As we would say in the Balkans, it's quite unsafe and devastating ways for many of them.
Drago Župarić, it was a pleasure to have you on Across the Balkans. I do appreciate your insights on this topic for us.
Thank you for the invitation.
And thanks for watching this episode. See you next time. Bye-bye for now.